Welcome, everybody, to Dead Talk Live. I am your host, Viz, and today we have two very special guests. I want to welcome Charlotte Kirk and Neil Marshall from the movie The Lair, which is now currently streaming on Shudder. Guys, welcome to the show. How are you guys doing over there in the UK?
We're doing good, and thank you for having us on the show.
Yes, thank you. Super excited.
I'm excited as well. It's a pleasure to have the both of you on. So let's get right to it. Congratulations on this film. Like we said just before we went live, this film is action packed. The story is great. The special effects are amazing. Neil, you did a great job directing as always. You have some very notable films in your past that we'll get to in a little bit. Charlotte, you are amazing as Kate Sinclair. Just an all around great film, and it doesn't surprise me the success that this film is enjoying. So let's get right to it. Now, the both of you wrote the screenplay. Neil, you directed. Charlotte, you are the star. How did this collaborate? I'll throw this at Neil first. How did this collaboration begin?
Well, we had already collaborated on a film before that, a film called The Reckoning, which came out. Well, we shot in 2019, and then it came out at the end of 2020, or beginning of 2021, in different countries, following kind of COVID and lockdown. It's just like, and the irony of that being that film dealt with the plague, which was very surreal. But then we went into a kind of a second lockdown at that point, and we were looking for something to try and do that year that maybe we could do a film of, keep it a low budget film, keep it contained, shoot it somewhere where we'd be outdoors a lot, that maybe we could work within the kind of, the COVID restrictions. And it started out as something kind of much smaller than it ended up being. Suddenly along the way, I have a problem writing unambitious films.
Neil can't do low budget.
I try my best, but it doesn't get ambitious. And so we knocked this story out kind of between us, and the characters and such like. But then it was like I started bringing in Afghanistan and Russian invasions and and alien ships and stuff like that. Was like, okay,
well, I love that Neil's mentality: go big or go home.
Exactly.
If I remember rightly, I think the film originally was one location in the desert, California, house invasion movie, and then it became Afghanistan and
hidden bunkers and all sorts.
Yeah. The film setting is in Afghanistan. Now, Charlotte, in regards to the story, what was the inspiration about Afghanistan, the aliens, and the whole 9 yards? Without giving away any spoilers, what was the inspiration behind both of you writing this script?
I don't think it was really the location, actually. It was more about we wanted to do, as I said, it just totally evolved. Aliens or monsters, but it wasn't really that we wanted to do a film about soldiers.
We wanted to do something more fun as well.
Something more fun. The Reckoning was our previous film was pretty dark. It was a psychological horror, and we wanted something more kind of Neil going back to his roots. I think a couple of people have said this is very in the Dog Soldiers realm, and we wanted something fun and action
by Predator.
It was Predator and Alien and Sigourney Weaver. Sigourney Weaver was a big inspiration for me and developing my character, and just to do something as fun as possible, really.
Okay. Now, Charlotte, how much military knowledge did you have, and how much did you have to research to get into the mindset of Kate?
Yeah, I didn't have much knowledge beforehand, that's for sure. I mean, I know Neil loves all of that kind of stuff, but I haven't played anyone like Kate Sinclair before. I was lucky enough to speak to a real British fighter pilot that helped a lot, and it was actually my first proper action-packed role as well. The first time I fired a gun. So it was really kind of me jumping in at the deep end, and I absolutely loved it.
Now,
Absolutely, so much
Neil,
fun.
you mentioned prior films like Alien and whatnot, and they're serving as an influence. Was that sort of subconsciously, or did you want to sort of pay tribute to films like Alien and The Thing? I saw some semblance to
Oh
The
yeah.
Thing in the
I
movie.
can't help it. I wear my influences very much on my sleeve. It's like the films that I love just creep in there, and maybe on a subconscious level. But yeah, there's certainly references to The Thing. But there's a whole subgenre of like monsters and soldiers movies, which I say, obviously Dog Soldiers is part of that. But then there's the Predators and the Aliens, and way before that, things like Invaders from Mars and stuff like
Yeah.
that had soldiers going underground and battling these aliens. And I just wanted to sort of take that to the next level, and make something that was both fun but really intense. Like I wanted to, certainly by the last half of the film, to get it seriously intense, so that people were
Hmm.
like, hearts racing through the last section.
And that is absolutely achieved. Neil, how much of the effects that we see on the screen are practical and how much are CGI?
In terms of the creatures themselves, that's 98% practical. We certainly we cleaned up some of the, like sometimes you could see like the joins on the suits and things like that. So we cleaned those up a little bit, or made on a couple of shots we made their jaws kind of extend really wide open, more than anybody could. So there's things like that, but there were practical guys in suits on sets, and then the other visual effects are things like matte paintings and landscape extensions and things like that, because we actually made the film in Budapest,
Oh,
uh, and
Hmm.
yet it looks like it's in the middle of
it
Afghanistan.
does.
We shot it in a lot of quarries outside of Budapest, and in the heat of summer. And I think with these beautiful visual effects shots that show desert landscapes, it's just the illusion is complete.
Charlotte, what is it like for you working with practical effects, as opposed to you doing your thing behind a green screen and then everything is put in post production? What kind of effect did that have on you?
Oh, it just made it so much easier. You're not, interacting with, you know, you're
Nothing.
interacting with
Yeah,
nothing
yeah.
exactly. Especially with this, the
It
stunt
wasn't a
team.
tennis ball on a stick. It was
Exactly.
a real guy who was
Yes,
throwing you around the room or whatever, which is
yeah, and the stunt team were amazing. The men that were in the suits were incredible. I mean, they were real great stunt guys, and it just makes it just so more believable as an actor. And I think, as you said, it makes it feel timeless as well, doesn't it?
Mm.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't age at all. It doesn't age. So, yeah.
Now, your character is an emotional character at her core, Charlotte, with her late husband regarding her son. What did you do to tap into the mindset of Sinclair?
Ooh. I work with my acting coach, Susan Batson, who's absolutely phenomenal. And I prepare for each role. I break, even if I've written the script, I break the script down as if I haven't looked at it before, and I start fresh and build the character from scratch. Um,
You went into a wants and a needs and
yeah. Wants and needs.
weaknesses
Does
and
it
a strength.
help you to build a backstory just for you to help you get into that character?
Absolutely. Oh yes, absolutely. Backstory, needs, flaws. What does she want? How is she going to get out of this situation? How does she feel? With her other the characters around her. Um, and each day getting into that. There's techniques that I do. But it's not. It's kind of lots of different things. I don't say, oh, I'm a method actor or I'm Meisner or I kind of do a little bit of everything. Take
Okay.
what I like and see
Now,
what works for me.
this film being action from start to finish, how physically intensive was it for you in front of that camera? Did you want to do as many of the stunts yourself? How many were stunt doubles? Tell us about that.
Well, I've only got myself to blame, right? When I was writing this, I was like, wow, okay. I did have a stunt double. She was great, but I say for the most part, I did quite a lot. I mean, where I get hit by the car, and when there's a few obviously obvious things, but and she helped a lot with the firing of the gun, because it was my first time. But I mean, I did most of that, didn't I?
Yeah, there's a few things where you leave it to the professionals because we don't want our lead actress getting hurt or whatever. So being hit by the Humvee, a couple of the explosions,
the explosion,
having an explosion right next to you, stuff like that. We leave that to the stunt people because they know what they're doing.
Exactly.
But
now,
then,
Neil, did you? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut
Mm-hmm.
you off, but Neil, were you holding your breath during a lot of the stunts that Charlotte was doing? Because if she got injured, that would put her down for a couple of days and halt production. Were you holding your breath? What was your reaction?
I mean, there is always that element of just you got to be careful, but at the same time, you want to get the actor there in the thick of the action. That was why it was important for us to have Charlotte trained up on using firearms for the first time, and then I was very adamant that we would use blank firing weapons because it looks better. It's more authentic for the actor as well to experience that. But obviously there's safety concerns with those. But when you're dealing with professional people, then it's all handled very, very safely. And it just looks better on screen at the end of the day. And Charlotte was very cool and competent with the weapons, with the stunts, we did fight training for a few weeks in advance, working with the stunt team, and just got yourself into a really kind of comfortable place with it, and were surrounded by a team of professionals who were there to make sure she stayed safe.
Amazing. Now, every writing team has their own method on how they put together a script. How did you guys work together in writing this script? Did you have a method where somebody would come up with the ideas, the other would write it down? Tell us about that. Whoever wants to answer that.
This comes from a lot of discussions, bouncing the ideas backwards and forwards, formulating the story, formulating the characters, and then I'll go away and I'll write some stuff up, and then we'll reread it and we'll go through that, talk about it, see what we can improve, and then I'll go away, either rewrite it or write some more stuff. Maybe hammer out a first draft of the script, and then we'll get into more discussions, talk it through, read it through.
And it's an ongoing process. I mean, we really don't stop rewriting until, even
while you're shooting.
Yeah.
I avoid that if I can, but sometimes it's essential. But I think on the Lair, the script was pretty much locked down by the time we were filming. But I will rewrite right up to the last minute in terms of just before the shoot. I think anything if it's going to make it better.
Yeah, when we wrote, a lot of people we sold very quickly, so a lot of people like the script, and we sold it, to Shudder and RLJ, and that's I guess why it was pretty locked. But there's a few adjustments here and there, but not too many.
Yeah.
Now, Neil, the film starts off with this amazing sequence in a fighter jet where we see Charlotte having to eject and so on from her plane. How difficult was that for you to shoot that?
It was difficult.
I was in a plane, okay? I learned how to fly a plane. I did a Tom Cruise, okay?
Well, yeah, it was.
And it's funny because I'm wearing my Maverick t-shirt.
I know
too.
you're wearing your Maverick.
Very cool.
Maverick t-shirt. I thought, yep, that's Charlotte. It was another case of just being incredibly ambitious. Having some great visual effects and things like that. I mean, the truth of it was that we shot Charlotte in against a green screen in a car park.
Yeah.
With some guys shaking the chair and not getting all the footage and the dialogue, and then we had some footage of and it was footage of an actual jet plane, which we then essentially kind of comped her into, and then and did it that way. I mean, it's just very smart visual effects.
And that's a green screen you want. That's a green screen. That absolutely.
Definitely. Absolutely. Now, Neil, like we said, you've directed some very notable films in the past. like The Descent, The Reckoning, and so on. Does each film hold its own special place in your heart? How would you compare The Lair to, let's say, like the Descent? Very popular film.
Um, it's a like you say, each one is a very very different animal, and each one presents a whole different set of challenges. You're never doing the same thing twice. You're never presented with the same scene or characters or whatever doing the same thing twice. So that's what I love about it. It's always new. And so each one is a little bubble of your life that you put your heart and soul into, and then you move on to the next one and the next one, and and look back. And thankfully, like something like Descent is held in some kind of high esteem, and it makes you very very proud. And then like other strange things, like the film I did after Descent was Doomsday, which at the time kind of got a lot of negative reaction, but now it's got a really strong following, and I get a lot of people coming up to me now and saying how much they love it. Maybe it's because of COVID or something. Maybe it's
No, that's happened
but
countless times in the past.
Yeah,
like The Thing was trashed when it came out.
yeah, and exactly. Films like The Thing and Blade Runner, all and were either got negative reviews or tanked at the box office when they first came out, and now they're considered classics. So
Exactly.
it's like you just never know.
Now,
If a film's got legs and you're still talking about it in 10, 20 years, then that's a good thing.
history will be the judge. Now, Charlotte, being the co-writer and working with Neil behind the camera, did you have a lot of creative input, like sort of making last-minute adjustments to Kate in your character? Or was it, you two needed to talk it over, maybe adjust the lines, or did you find sort of just adding your creative input on the fly in the moment?
The thing is, just because I'm the co-writer and producer as well, I don't take advantage of that. Like when I'm on set, I'm the actress and that's it. If I have any notes regarding my character, I will give those notes as coming from, if I think that's right for my character. But I don't think I gave any notes. I think I did a lot of preparation with my acting coach, and I think I just kind of I guess the biggest, lots of questions and the challenges I had for you really was the action stuff. But in terms of the story, the dialogue,
I think what often seems to happen is that, and maybe it's just with me, but I think it's maybe with other writers as well, but certainly with me, is that I will quite often overwrite a scene. And then once you actually start working with the actors and you start bouncing it around, and then the actors come and say, well, what if I just didn't say this part, or we could simplify it, and we start to work ways of like getting rid of all the fat that you put into it, simplify it down to its core essence, and get on and over with get into the scene much quicker, and that streamlining effect. I mean, that's a process that comes between me and the cast. And we're all part of that process.
Less is more show,
and it ends up making things better.
Yeah. Well, you guys did a fantastic job. Again, to our audience, the film is called The Lair. It is now available on Shudder. It's action, thriller, sci-fi, a whole bunch of stuff done amazingly well. Congratulations to the both of you on a great film. To our audience, please check it out when you have an opportunity. I want to thank our guests, Charlotte Kirk, Neil Marshall. I want to thank our audience, those of you who are tuning in live and those who will be watching this later on. You guys have any final thoughts you want to share before we go?
Just we hope that everybody enjoys The Lair as much as you did.
Watch the film and enjoy.
Absolutely.
Have fun with it. Crack over the beer and have a watch of it.
It's a great, entertaining film. Thank you again. Thank you to our audience. On behalf of Charlotte and Neil and myself, stay safe, everyone, and stay walking. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.